All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. And today we're going to be looking at a few clips that I took on a recent trip to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're familiar with Las Vegas, you know it has the name of Sin City. And I think Las Vegas can be many things. It's not always super straightforward like that. But I'm just going to mention three things that I thought about on my recent trip.
Thank you.
And I won't narrate the whole video. The last part will just be clips that you can kind of look over. And I did film in this aspect ratio, so it's going to be better to look at it on your phone or, a mobile device probably. But here goes. So, like I said earlier, yes, Las Vegas is called Sin City, and there is a lot of sin there. If you walk the strip at night, and even during the day, you're going to see a lot of lights. You're going to see a lot of opportunities to gamble. I've stayed in two hotels there, and they were both large hotels, and they had massive casino floors. And honestly, I feel like sometimes they design the floors to where it's hard to kind of find your way out. You'll learn it in time, but it can be confusing. Also on the strip, if you walk at night, especially, you will see, prostitution there. I don't think it's legal in this area, but you will see people offering to take a picture with your phone or to do this or that when really their motive is just to offer you prostitution. You want to be wise, and it's always best to walk around with someone. Also, there's marijuana sold in Vegas. If you're 21 or older, you can purchase it. I didn't see it sold at a ton of places, and I know you can't smoke in public or consume in a moving vehicle, but there is that. In the hotels, you'll notice some of the amenities are super expensive, or they're just not there. I stayed in a hotel most recently where there wasn't even a fridge, and people were kind of using their sink as a cooler. It was a work trip. So this kind of leads me into my second point. Las Vegas is a city of perspectives, in my opinion. So there's a lot that goes on in Las Vegas, and not all of the perspectives involve a wide angle on sinful activity. For instance, in my case, it was a work trip. So our job does this annual thing, and this year they did Las Vegas. And so from that perspective, it can be kind of cool. It can be kind of a getaway and just a reward from your work, that you get to go there and have some training and kind of see the city that you may not otherwise see, or you may not otherwise choose to see, or you may not be able to afford to see. So that's a cool perspective, and and you feel good about that because you're going, and it's my company has to be doing well enough to take a couple hundred people to Vegas. And even when I've gone there before, I was with my brother and his company, took them to Vegas. Now, his situation was a little bit different. It was kind of like a high achievers, President's Club type thing. So that was cool, but that's a perspective. And for some people, it could be a getaway. This most recent trip for me wasn't. We did a lot of training, and it was super busy, and coworkers wanted to hang out afterwards, which is cool. I love people, enjoy people, and things like that. So that's cool, but it wasn't super restful. So it can be exciting, energetic, and not restful. So two things can be true there. Also, it could be just a burgeoning opportunity. So there are a lot of trade shows and conferences and things that happen in Vegas. There's a lot of athletic events where people go because they're competing and they've gotten to a level where they can compete. Or there's trade shows that companies send people to, or that companies go to and they bring employees to just to represent them. So if you have the opportunity to do that, then that's super exciting, and it may not be super restful, but again, your company's doing well enough to be there, and then also they trust you to send you as an ambassador or a reflection of them and their culture and what they have going on. So that's cool. And then the last point that I'll make before I shut up and let you enjoy the views is that it can be a cool city to walk at night. So fall is my favorite season, and every time I've gone to Vegas, I've been 4 times, and 3 out of the 4 times I think were in October, and then another time was early November. And Vegas is hot, and it stays hot, but at night it kind of cools off. It was still warm when I was here this most recent time, but it's still always cool to walk the strip, and I was walking it by myself. If you're smart, it's really not a problem. And also, I'm a guy, so there's a bit less of a risk for me, and I'm just vigilant. And so I had my ear my AirPods in for part of the time, just listening to some music. And then for part of the time, I was just kind of, walking around, hearing the sights and sounds. And you can walk the strip during the day. So that's another thing. People always think of Vegas at night, but, they have a lot of shops and they have a lot of outlets. They have like pretty standard outlets on the north and south sides of the strip. And then they have these high-end malls and some of the hotels, and so you can buy nice things like Gucci and Tom Ford and even higher end things that I can't even think of because I don't mess with that stuff. Can't afford it. But anyway, so there's that. And then also the hotels are very, very nice to me. So my favorite hotels in Vegas are going to be Mandalay Bay and Caesar's Palace. And even if you're not staying in these hotels, just kind of walking through, seeing the architecture, seeing the build is just kind of cool and relaxing to me, especially when, a lot of times you come to Vegas and even if you're not there for business, you're with family or friends, you're go, go, go. And sometimes if you have a chance to break away or you guys finish up early, you can just go walk and enjoy the strip and just the design of different hotels that are massive and things like that. So that's all that I have to say about Vegas. It's not super crazy in my opinion. I didn't feel like my life was in danger at all. And if I felt like I was being kind of dumb, then I would have probably walked the strip during the day. That's a change that you can make. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the video and see the sights and sounds, and maybe you can, visit it for yourself. I wouldn't say it's a must-see place. Like, you can walk the city. Look, I like to walk at night beside the river in the town that I live in. So, I mean, you can walk anywhere and feel the chill of the night, the cool of the day, the warmth of the day, whatever you like. You can do that. And so, for me, it's cool to see. I have not had to pay for airfare. Well, I did pay for airfare. So a couple times I've went, like one time I was a guest of my brother's on his trip, and his most recent trip, it was a work trip, so I didn't have to pay for airfare or my hotel stay. The other two trips, my brother, he was going for work, but I just flew out there to be with him and whatever additional family member he chose to bring that time, so that was cool. But, I don't regret going, but again, if he wasn't there, if work didn't take me there, I'd probably not know what it's like. So anyway, I'm glad I had the experience. I'm super grateful, and enjoy the video. All right, so I can't quite remember if all of this is connected and part of the Luxor. I think it is. All right. So there is that, the Luxor Hotel. There's the Delano, and then there's Mandalay Bay, and then I guess Four Seasons is a part of that. So Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and Excalibur, I guess, are kind of tied together. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I suppose there are a couple other things I'd like to go over in this video. And number one is just who and how I am a little bit. So everybody's going to have a bias, and I'll kind of let you in on a little bit about myself. I'm an introverted person. I definitely recharge away from people. I love people, love being around them. I can be a social person and just be very good with people, but I'm not like a super big party person, and I don't drink a ton. I don't do drugs, so weed is not a thing for me. Drinking's not a thing, and I still had a good time in Vegas. With that being said, a large part of my trip was paid for, and even in the past, either my hotel was paid for or my flight was paid for. And so that would influence my perspective a little bit. I don't think you have to drink and do drugs to have a good time. I was there for 4 days, 3 nights, and I had 3 beers. I didn't get drunk at all, and it was cool. It was cool. So, you don't have to do that. I will say where you stay makes a big difference. And before I get into that, I want to retract one of my prior answers. If I had never been to Vegas before, knowing what I know now, I would still want to go one time because I absolutely love the Mandalay Bay Hotel. It is very clean. It has the most comfortable beds I've ever slept in, and you can go there and get a suite or a regular hotel room and just have a good time. It is on probably the southernmost part of the Strip. It's kind of closest to the Vegas sign than any other hotel. And I just love it because it's like a resort type situation. So you could honestly go there and stay there, or stay in the Four Seasons that's located in the same vicinity, and just not even engage with Vegas and have a good time. You can get massages, you can get good food. There's places in the lobby where you can sit. There's Wi-Fi. It's not super transient. So when you think of Vegas, you know that there are a lot of tourists there, and there are international people from different countries. There's people from around the US, and that can be a lot for some people, especially if you're like super introverted or you have social anxiety. But if honestly you stay in the Mandalay Bay Hotel, you could just do that in very small doses and be okay. It is not the nicest hotel in Vegas. Like, I'm a normal guy, so it's like nice for me. There is the Venetian and a couple others I can't even think of. The Waldorf Astoria, the Aria, those are like super nice hotels. And then the one with the fountains is super nice. So there are nicer hotels you can stay in. But I say all that to say this, like, where you stay can influence your experience and how you engage Vegas. Like, if you just stay in the hotel, you could be like, man, it was super chill, super relaxing, super restorative. You can have that experience in Vegas. These hotels are massive. You really don't have to venture outside of them. But I will say with my next point, it is not a problem if you need to venture outside and get essentials. So in Vegas, there are CVS stores and Walgreens on the Strip. So you don't have to stay off the Strip to have affordable options as far as like toiletries and different things like that. So I think I was in Walgreens like 2 weeks ago when I was there, and they had like a 24-pack of water for $8. So it was just like normal U.S. prices. You can get water, snacks, nuts, sandwiches, wraps, all those things. And then additionally, there's Marshalls and Ross off the Strip. And so if you forgot your belt, you need a button up, want to grab some khakis, you can definitely do that. They're not going to be as stylish as like the high-end brands, but you don't have to go to Gucci for a belt or Louis Vuitton for a button up. So that's super convenient. I love that. And then I guess the last thing that I'll say in this part of the video is that if you go to the Las Vegas sign, don't be like me. Like, I wanted to walk. I didn't stay at Mandalay Bay, and I wanted to walk there because I wanted to check it out. I love it. I've stayed there 3 of the 4 times that I've been in Vegas. And so I walked down there. It was a long walk because I'm coming from the Caesars Palace area. And I did this kind of like circular walk because they have like F1 stuff, and I wanted to see the globe, so I started there. Anyway, it was a long walk, and then I decided to walk to the Vegas sign. So none of my coworkers were going to do all that walking. That's just insane. And I tried to go to the Vegas sign and take a selfie with myself, for myself, by myself. It didn't work out so well. So if you do go to the Vegas sign, it might be a once in a lifetime or just a must do in Vegas. Take a picture at the sign. And I'm glad that I went and took one, but the selfie was not there. And I asked the guy to take one of me, and I was just too far away, and it just didn't come out well. So that sign is very, very busy. I got there like at almost close to midnight, and there was like nobody there. There was like a family. They left, and I kind of missed them, so I couldn't get them to take a picture. And then by the time I was done failing at selfies, there was like 20 people there, and it was just too tough to get back to the sign. So have somebody with you, be a bull a little bit so you can get a good picture in front of the sign. If not, you can still have a good time. Dior, Chanel. Wow. We're out here.
Are we walking?
Working, yeah.
Let's go.
I'm just being a tourist. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here after a couple clips at Fremont Street. And one thing about Fremont Street is that it's probably not kid friendly. So if you're not familiar with Vegas, I believe Fremont Street is where like Vegas first started. There's some older hotels like the Golden Nugget. And when you walk in there, it is nice. Like there's this big LED kind of walkway ceiling thing that you can see in this video. And then also, you know, there's some bars and some restaurants and souvenir shops and things like that. But at some of the bars, they have like girls in bikinis, and when they're not serving people, they kind of like dance on the bar until somebody comes over. I think they do that to entice people to come over. And then there's also street performers, and there's like little circles that are, you know, kind of taped off on the floor where those street performers stand and either dance and do whatever they do. But with the people who are dressed up, and a lot of those are street performers, they're like scantily clad girls and things like that. And if you take a picture with them, they want you to give them a tip, which is usually like $50 plus or something like that. I just heard a story of a guy who came on a prior work trip. He took a picture with somebody in a costume, and the person wanted $70. I don't know what the going prices are. That's not my thing, but Fremont Street is cool to kind of see because there's a lot of lights, and sometimes they have performers, and then this big screen on the ceiling. But just beware, there are some scantily clad, you know, men and women. And so that's kind of a thing there. But I hope you enjoyed the video. You got a good taste of Vegas. Yes, I did show you a clip of, you know, me being in a bathroom because it was very nice. But anyway, I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Okay, and one last thing I really like about these big resorts and hotels is that there are little places like here, especially when you're here for business. You come out of conferences and things, you can sit, be on the phone, you can be out in the open amongst people, but kind of have your own space. So that's pretty neat. And if I did not mention before, Mandalay Bay is a massive hotel and resort. So a ton of space. So we're gonna head back this way so I can go to the side. I guess some other thoughts I have is that there are a lot more restaurants than I remembered in Mandalay Bay area. There's a lot of places to eat, sit, and drink. I like this more than Caesars for one main reason. Like, they're both super nice, but the main reason is that Caesars is more touristy. So there's a lot more people just walking through Caesars for tourism. And this is more of a sit and chill, I'm staying here, I'm staying in this part of town kind of thing. And I also like walking through places at night because there's less traffic. And just the old ambiance is a little different. It's a little stripped down. I'm not like so much of an in the crowd kind of person. So during the day, this might be a little bit more hectic. It wouldn't be Vegas without walking through an area with casinos and gambling and stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it is what it is. So something else to note. So this is the fire department, Clark County Fire Department right here. And right there is a police substation. And then the Mandalay Bay Resort is just right there. The convention center is on the edge, and there's a golf club in here. But you'll notice the use of rocks and kind of like rock cement instead of grass here. And that's because this is a desert, so they don't want to be watering a ton of grass and stuff like that. All right, folks, one of the most interesting things to note about Las Vegas is the Welcome to Las Vegas sign is smaller than you think. So here's a pretty average sized billboard here. And this sign is probably about, I don't know, a fifth or a sixth the size of that billboard. You would think they would have made like a bigger sign by now. I guess it is easier to get in pictures and stuff. But yeah, this is a relatively small landmark here.